That's me, and this is you. Oh, and there's Maverick. Get that finger out of that nose.
How are you? Can you hear me? Look how cute our grandson is.
Yes.
Look how cute he is. He's so cute. Hello.
Hey,
Good,
dude.
good morning.
So, Grammy, you're on mute.
Now it's a game.
Or Gigi. You go by Gigi, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ah, it's not
What are you
funny.
playing today?
He's putting his finger in his nose. Now it's a game because I keep telling him not to do it. Stop. Stop. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's dirty. Icky. 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 It's icky. It's icky. All right, go play. Go ahead. I know, you just want to sit here with me.
Who
Because I
won
came
it?
in here.
We all.
Right?
Yep. All right, what happened to the camera? How did it get blurry? I really can't win. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. That little face.
There you go. Cute.
You're not funny. Don't slam it. Easy. Do easy. Easy. Anyway. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah. How'd it go with listening to the, oh, I want your coffee. What are you drinking?
My morning latte.
I get Mike to
Does
make me one.
it have whipped
With
cream
froth.
on it? Oh, that's froth?
Yeah. Girlfriend. It's all
Danny,
about the organic milk.
you gotta level up. Holly's froth on
Yeah.
her latte. Hold on, can I show him?
Ow,
Look at
ow.
Look at this.
Wow.
You got work to do.
And this is a bad day.
Do it.
Sometimes it looks like the Alps.
Let's
She
drink.
she says it's a bad day. Sometimes it looks like the Alps.
How'd you do it?
How do you do it?
Organic milk. And I have I either have a steam wand and I also have like the twirly one, not the handheld, but like one you set on a thing when it twirls inside. And to get it thicker, you put a tiny bit in. So I kind of do a regular amount just to kind of get milk, and then I do a really small amount to get really thick, and then let it sit there for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Wait, use what? Milk or cream?
Milk.
Milk.
Organic.
Organic milk.
Yeah, we're using heavy cream, so I wonder if that's why.
Huh.
Oh no, that will make whipped cream and it just take a lot longer. That's what
Well,
the
I use-
Austrians do.
I use half and half, and it does it quick.
Oh, okay. So half and half.
But yeah, but heavy whipping cream should be good too, I think. But
Well, I
Mike makes
wonder if
mine,
it
but it
would-
doesn't look as big as that. But it
I
has.
wonder if
fluff
heavy
to it.
would, because heavy just goes to whipped cream. If it would take, it takes too long. Where half and half, you would get them both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still perfecting that.
You got work to do.
Mhm.
Stop it.
Gotta turn
It's
the
just
fan on.
hysterical. All right. So how did it go listening to the recording and filling out that form?
Did I miss a transcript?
Yeah, I sent the transcript.
Mhm.
You didn't get it?
Maybe I might have accidentally closed that then on my computer. That's what I was afraid of, but that was fine. I mean, not fine. I didn't have it like word.
If you hit the chat, it's in the chat.
No, remember we can't. Messages. I only see, maybe it's something we have to turn on. I don't see past chat history.
Neither
Oh,
do
but
I.
if I would have gone back to the recording, can you see the chat and the recording?
I think so. Well, you can hit save chat.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that downloads it to your computer as well. So let's see. I don't understand why that is.
I know, because you say it's working for
message.
you, but
So chat messages are being posted in team chat, which stays available after the meeting. Chats can be saved, seen, and shared by meeting participants or team chat members. Why'd you take it off? It's not charged yet. You're not listening to me at all today. It's getting on my nerves. It's not charged. All right, fine. It's just going to die and then you won't have it at all. But here you go. Bye-bye.
Not the Kyoto coaching.
It was Rosario,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So let me, I mean, it's right here in the chat, but let me.
Is he like a semi-professional golfer? Not that I'm trying to identify him, but just the way he talks about it and the passion. Yeah, and the desire.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I don't know golf, first of all, but second of all, I don't ever ask questions about the coachees.
Well, I know.
But there it is. Can you grab it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can do that muted for privacy reasons.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. So, okay. So what I wanted to do is go over with you guys, like we'll do it together, and then have you guys submit those forms to me as if you were giving it to a client. So we can start to look at how do you actually write it up for the client.
Okay.
Which can be done several different ways. If it's if it's going to be for a final performance evaluation, we're going to do that separate in a separate form. It's a different type of form. But for these feedback forms, just personally me, I just put I copy and paste over the evidence in each column, and then in parentheses and italics, I might, write either a suggestion or a kind of a note that we can discuss when we have our one-on-one meetings, the one-on-one mentor meetings. And then there's notes at the bottom where I usually note, 2 or 3 really good things, and then 1 or 2 things that need improvement. It's how we word it, because we're not assessing, but 1 or 2 things that we come up with as like suggestions. So that's typically how I do mine.
Okay.
So what's that?
And then you do the evidence with the time so they could go back.
Yep, do the timestamp with it so they can see exactly what you're talking about and they don't have to go searching.
Okay.
So
I felt that this call was okay, and then I struggled with like trying to get all the competencies, like trying to really fill in all the blanks. And I like tried really hard, but
okay. So trying to think what would be easier if we just go through the recording, stop, copy paste from the transcript into the form, or just go through the transcript. Did you guys listen to it at least twice each?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Wish she was a little more peppy.
yeah.
Not the coach, the client.
Oh, really? I love his voice.
He has a good voice, but
It's very
a little
calming.
monotone. Yeah. Yeah, that's really what it is. It's like, oh, follow. He gets he gets more excited towards the end, and that helps.
Oh yeah, he's very even keeled.
Yeah, that's the word. That's what I meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where is my form? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I felt like I was like Lori in the sense that sometimes, I mean, he was a good 10 or 15 minutes in before he said, what do you want to get basically out of the call? And I was like, I guess that's part of the coaching agreement. I know you can do it late. Then there was something else that'll come up that was really late. And I thought, does that still work?
What's the matter? Gigi has to work. What? What is this? Okay. You're welcome. So the rest, like the other pieces of the coaching agreement, sometimes come later, but we have to watch how late they come, because if it's, I've had some people, it's 15, 20 minutes into the call, and then you're like, okay, so how much time did you have after knowing that outcome now to work towards it?
Right.
So what you really want to make sure is that there's enough done after you get that makes sense, that you actually worked toward, because the 7 working towards those outcomes and all that, like that has to be shown. So if you don't have that outcome for 7 and 8, if you don't have that outcome until too late, then you're not able to demonstrate those. But
okay, so anything that's like said before he completes it would not count towards 7 and 8. It has to be obviously 8. You're not going to be asking 8 questions if you don't have like plans and stuff. But 7, like with awarenesses.
yeah. Again, though, it could be, we need specific examples, I guess, but it could be that they have enough awarenesses around the topic
Yeah.
that the outcome is a relatively simple outcome. And so those awarenesses
okay.
did work towards helping with the outcome.
Okay. And that's what I think you did that.
Yeah. So that's what you're looking for. It's not really cut and dried in that way. It's
Yeah.
really what happens in the conversation, what doesn't happen in the conversation. And then once that agreement is made, is there enough time or was there enough work done after that to actually get to the outcome? Because that's a big deal, right?
Mhm.
If you're not knowing what
Yeah.
the outcome is until later, like, did you have enough time to actually get to the outcome?
Right.
And then looking at the awarenesses beforehand, did they work towards that outcome or what have you? I have to be honest. I really need Jess to go into this and clean this up. I have so much stuff in these folders that trying to organize it is just I'm struggling here. Like, I have a folder somewhere that has all the recordings and the stop. Well, if you don't want to watch it, you do that. See? That's all you have to do is hit that back arrow. Oh, maybe it's in. Oh, I know where it is.
So while we're waiting, I literally woke up. I don't know if you guys have a workaround, but like I take magnesium every night. I take a multivitamin, like I take all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I woke up to such a leg cramp that I started I scared everybody. I scared like it usually happens and it's not that bad. But I
Yeah.
literally was like beside myself.
That's horrible. I hate that.
Oh,
Like I was shouting and like I scared the dog. I scared the dog to the point she's not even talking to me right now because I woke her up. So
well.
if anybody has workarounds, I'm gonna try pickle juice at this point. Like I'm like I
I
need to
mean,
go.
pickle
I
juice
always
works
eat a
quick.
banana.
I can't have
Banana.
I can't have bananas.
Okay, the pickle
Oh.
juice it is.
There's too much sugar, so I've been doing magnesium at night. Like it has like all the
Yeah, which I
multiple
thought.
strains.
I mean, pickle juice is good for that. It's a go-to keto
yeah,
thing because you get the cramps with keto. So,
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I used to just drink a shot of it every day,
Then
and it
that's what I'm
worked.
gonna do. I'm gonna do that.
And I do it in the morning. But if you're having it when you wake up in the morning, maybe
Mhm.
morning and night would make sense.
Mm. I guess I could do it twice. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just
Okay.
I mean, you just need a little, like a shot.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
All
try
right.
it.
I'm
So
starting hormone
Rosario,
patches today.
what?
Oh.
I'm starting hormone patches today.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I didn't
Yes.
do hormones.
Well, I've been on birth control since I was 15. So it was like, yeah, my body is not reacting well when I go off anything. So I thought, well, let's do better hormones than birth control.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I used all natural stuff when I did
Yeah.
menopause. I mean, I still have some left 10 years later. But also I
Yeah.
had early menopause. I started in my mid 40s.
Do you have a hysterectomy though?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Nope. No, I just oh, it's really hot in here. I'm gonna have to turn the air up.
Speak of the
No,
devil.
I had an early period. I was 9
Oh, okay.
when I got my period, and then my period was my whole life was horrible.
Yeah.
Like I had PMD and I was just down for the count, and I would bleed for 15 days. Yeah.
Terrible.
And then they put me on birth control, but then that
Yeah.
did something with my blood pressure or something, whatever it was. I don't even remember. And they tried 2 other ones and then they were like, nope, you can't take the pill. Okay. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And then when I had my first son, the period went down to like 10 days. but it was still horrible. I mean, it was just still
Yeah, that's
horrible.
not
And then
normal.
by the time I was done with all 3 kids, and I got my tubes tied, then it went down to about 7 days. But I mean, not to be
Girl,
gross, but like double tampons, double pads. It was
that is,
horrible. I had such a
Yeah.
horrible time
yeah,
of it.
Terrible.
And they wouldn't do anything.
that's abuse.
They would not do anything. And like I said, by the time I had my 3rd, like they were like, oh, after, when you're done having kids, then we can
Mhm.
look at some other options.
Right.
And I had Justin when I was 27. They weren't going to do anything before I was 30 anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but after that, I was down to like the 7 days, and they were like, well, it's much more manageable now. Oh, thank you.
Still
Yeah,
need a
'cause
blood
you-
transfusion. Not sure how
Right.
that's
But yeah,
manageable.
right?
yeah. And I had to
You-
take iron supplements because I would
Yeah.
lose, when you lose that much blood, it's not good.
Yeah, terrible.
But yeah. And so when I started menopause pretty early, they were like, we knew you were going to do that. Oh, okay.
You're like, praise the love.
Thank God. Right?
Well, yeah. I just didn't like that it wasn't like, at least I knew when it was going to happen.
Right. True.
And then in menopause,
Oh,
that got all messed up. Like I'd bleed 1 month and then it would be 3 months and then it would just come out of the blue. And then I would just be like, and it lasted a few years. Like some people do it,
yeah.
like it just lasts a year because it was early, I guess. It lasted like 5 years of that back and forth. But then when it was done, I was like, yay.
Mhm.
But I still get hot flashes and
Yeah.
the cramping was pretty bad. Like that didn't go away. Whatever. Anywho. All right, so
For your
I got my
support.
phone
Y'all.
now. Look, I'm like 20
No,
years
I'm
older
excited.
than both of you, I think.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. How old are you?
Be 49 next month.
Okay, I'm 11 years older than you.
Yeah, and I'm going to be 50 in
Oh.
August.
Okay, so I'm about 10 years older than you
I
guys.
didn't think you would hit 60, Cheryl. Okay.
This past March was my 60th.
Oh,
No
I
way.
didn't realize it was
Really?
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
we didn't really do anything, but maybe next year.
Here.
Maybe
Why
next
not?
year we'll have
Good.
a
Italy
belated
trip.
like 60th, trip. It was supposed to be while I was in Italy. We were gonna do
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
do it up, but that
Oh,
didn't
then let's play it.
happen. Yeah, so I have another house now
Okay.
for May again for the month of May. Then I'm looking at booking. I'm just wondering if the same thing's gonna happen, like, those last 2 people just didn't want to leave the country. 'Cause they
Yeah.
didn't want to deal with coming back into the country.
Yeah.
And
Well,
That's
Mike
a
said,
problem.
oh, wait and see what happens. I'm like, yeah, but then I won't have as many
You'll never do
options.
it.
And I'll never do it. That's right. Like I
That's
was
the
saying,
thing.
when we did that in March, canceled it for May, I was like, well, I'm going to look at September. And he's like, well, that's not enough time for anything to resolve. So I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to look at next May because
Mhm.
I'm not waiting anymore. I'm 60. I want to go.
No.
I want to spend
Well,
the
and
month
if I
there.
have, dates and I know there's not all this other stuff happening next year in my life, I can commit to that.
mhm. Same.
All right, well,
Okay.
Anyways,
then I'm going to do that. I'm going to firm up those dates. Okay. So we spend time catching up. So I'm still wondering, should we listen to the recording and do the form together? Just like stop and copy and paste it over.
I think reading is probably
Yay!
faster
Okay.
just because he's slow.
And Holly doesn't want to listen to it again.
I do. Again, it's just,
Yeah. No, I get it.
it's harder.
But just just remember when you're doing yours, your
Yeah.
assessment or they're not assessments at the mentoring stage, but that you need to hear tone as well
Yeah.
sometimes, right? So you
Okay.
can't
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
go just by written
Yeah.
transcript.
Okay.
Okay, so So I'll just kind of read off the thing and then you tell me where it goes. We'll start
Okay.
there. And so what would you like to focus on that would be of value to you?
3.1.
1.
Yeah, 3.1. And then, oh, what about your golf game? Would you like to address?
Oh, is that success or needs to address? I guess it needs to address.
I put
Yeah.
3.4, needs to address.
Yeah. Which is a good spot to do it right after you get topic, by the way, before you get outcome.
Gotcha.
And so what specific goal would you like to achieve by the end of the session today? Or in today's session?
Measure of success.
3.2.
And how will we know you've accomplished what you set out by the end of today's call?
3.2.
So that's 3.2 as well, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, sorry, my throat is just like, And actually what specific goal would you like by the end of the session is actually 3.1 because it's focus on outcome.
So it'd be 3.2 and 3.1? What specific goal? Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
yay. Some people put it under 3.2 for measures of success, but it's really not the measurement.
Okay.
So you could do both, but for clarity for the client, I would put it under 3.1. Yummy.
So the specific goal you want
Yeah,
to achieve
specific.
is,
Yeah, focus on outcome.
Because that makes sense.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. What
Okay.
goal you want to achieve by the end of the session is an outcome.
narrowing it down.
Yeah. And then how will we know you've accomplished that by the end of the call is the measure of success.
Okay.
And then why is playing consistently important to you?
Importance and meaning,
Importance.
3.3.
Yep, 3.3. So pretty strong agreement right from the get-go.
Mhm.
All right. And then there's no lines on my sheet for some reason. Okay. Now I will say that one of the things that I would give for feedback for this is that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. You just don't want me to work. I'm seeing this.
Yeah,
He
was
keeps coming
that
over, hands up in the air. So he says,
or is
yeah,
that
it makes sense.
encouraging, or is that accomplishments? That's why I was a little torn with that one.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and he does it. Yeah, that he's like, and there's another time with the summary where it was like, is that kind of crossing the line? It's a little bit later. Or is that acknowledging? Is that 4.1?
I mean, I think it's
Or empathy.
acknowledgement, but it's also a habit in this conversation.
I see. Yeah.
You know, several times. High five. Okay, go play. So that would probably be something that I would ask, you know, the good question would probably be something like, why do you feel like, you have to keep saying that? Yeah, that makes sense, or something like that, to have him look at why he's saying it.
Mhm.
And then, or you could just say something like, what is something else that you could maybe, use in this instance instead of repeating the same thing over and over again? Something to give some awareness to it for him. And then you can see how he does his reflections, which is something else I wanted to talk about. So he doesn't say, so I hear you saying yada, 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 yada. Is that correct? Right? He says, you want to play better and more consistently. And so what I'm hearing is that not only, so it's part of like the summary which is short, which is good. He's molding it together. He's not just saying, okay, what I'm hearing is yada, yada, yada. Is that correct? Okay, that's enough now. You're making me upset. And then says, so what comes up for you when I say that, instead of saying, is that correct?
Mm.
Now, so that makes the client consider what they've just said now, instead of saying, oh yeah, that's right. So that's something to think about. And that actually is a competency.
I was gonna say, is that all the summary? But that's at 8 point in the 8th, isn't it? The summary. Oh no, it's 6.
It's 6. So it's a 6 for the summary, but then and then let me just put that in there because I didn't have that.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, I
quickly.
see.
And then what competency do you think is, so what comes up for you when I say that?
Coaching the who, right?
6.5.
It could be 6.5. Yeah, it actually covers a couple. 6.5. And what did you say?
I
Lori?
said he's coaching the person, whatever that one is. Right? So hold on, let me find what I'm thinking. 5.1? Could it fall under there?
Yeah, coaching the person.
And then which one did you guys say? 6.2?
0.5.
6.5.
6.5 for exploring expressions, and then 6.7 for the
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
for the summary one. But what comes up for you when I say that is
Yeah.
the exploring beliefs or assumptions or perceptions.
Okay.
Okay, and then how are you currently feeling and reacting when you're down this rabbit hole that might be affecting you affecting your consistency?
So
5.
emotions. So 6.3.
Yeah.
I also have it under 5.1. And I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, I mean, but it could be 5.1. A lot of these are going to be several places, right? I think for me, I had 5.4 as well.
Okay.
Curious about how that might be affecting them, but I do like 5.1. So
5.4.
yeah,
Curious about the
curious
client.
about the client. So
I don't have a 5.4.
oh, what did I say?
I don't have a 5.4. Am I in the wrong form?
You might be.
Oh, you know what?
I-
See, I always do mine on the PCC marker form, and I didn't. That's what
just
I
have-
have mine on.
Me too.
You're doing the ACC one?
Yeah, because remember I've been having all these struggles trying to get, so that was the one that was open on my computer.
Okay.
But
I mean, technically, you could do the
the other.
ACC one, but the
But it's
PCC,
missing.
I mean, it doesn't have the PCC markers. It just has the ACC minimum skill
Okay.
requirements. But here's the
So I
thing.
need to
So
go
this
back.
is where, I was kind of debating when we were talking about it last time was, do you want to use the ACC form when you're doing your mentoring for ACC? Or do you want to just use the PCC markers?
I like doing. I gotta keep it separate for now.
Okay, so you want to use the
caliber
ACC.
for
Okay, so
ACC.
then that's right. Then this is the ACC call. So this would be the ACC form.
Okay.
So so let me get the ACC form out. I'm just gonna have to copy and paste over to my ACC form, which is fine.
Okay.
That's what I need to I need the link to both of those, or I need to know how to bookmark better our OneDrive. That's my problem. I'm not great at bookmarking. I wrote that down.
I created a folder that just has these in them, but I don't have the ACC. Do you mind throwing it in the chat?
Okay, so I'll make a folder. I have an
Mm.
SC, I have a, yeah. I'll just make sure. I started a folder, I did.
I mean, I have the form. I can give you the form for the ACC.
That'd be great.
And the PCC, please. Let's just freshly
Let's
going
start
to save
over.
them all.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. Whew, I'm having a hot flash. Damn coffee.
this is the template. No, I don't want to replace it. I want to file. Can you get out of the fridge, maybe? There's the ACC, the MSRs
Okay.
for the ACC.
Okay.
And then
I need to write
there's the markers. So all of these are in a folder that you guys have access to. And I guess what should do is probably redo that folder and give you a new link to it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, you already have milk. Why do you want more? You have to go sit down and drink it. He brought me the gallon of milk from the fridge. I just tell you that.
Yum.
it.
Go sit down and drink it. You know? I guess you can't put it back. I'll be right back.
Okay. At least he's efficient.
He
I
is.
know.
Go sit down. No, you can't have that lid. Give me up. Go sit down and drink your milk. Go sit down. Bring it to the table. Go ahead.
I have too many forms open now. Hold on.
There we go. Put it in the academy.
So my question is, she said that we should do this on the ACC forms.
Yes.
Okay.
The
that's
MSR
what-
is the ACC. Minimum
Okay.
skill requirements.
Yeah. And then what's the difference between that one and then the feedback marker?
That's the PCC markers.
So the second one you gave was PCC. So let me get rid of this. This is not right.
Yeah.
This is PCC. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
What is that? I'm going to change the name.
Oh, that feels really good
But
to have them right and correct and both saved. So I'm not just like randomly pulling up.
okay. All right, good. So then, so if we go back to, I really shouldn't, that shouldn't say markers either. It should say MSRs. You want to correct that on your forms? That first column should say MSRs, not markers. Okay, so then same thing, 3.1 is those two. 3.2 is measure, bring that over. And then importance and meaning is curious about what they want to accomplish. And then the like to address can hit for 3.4.
Okay.
Okay, so then, so how are you feeling and reacting when you're down this rabbit hole, and how might it be affecting your consistency? Is 5.1 for curious throughout the session.
And then we also said, what comes up when you say that might be curious.
Yes.
Okay. And then,
And that can also be, I don't know. So what comes up for you when I
6.5.
say that?
and then we
Yeah,
also,
is,
yeah, 6.5.
well, no, 6.5 isn't on the
No. So where would that go?
MSRs.
It's not?
Not the
No,
ACC one.
ACC one
It's
just has
on mine. I don't know what.
on the feedback MSRs.
No, I just assumed that's what I had open because I don't have all the fives on it, right? So, but then my sixes has more than it should.
So the form that I just sent you in
I
the
know.
chat, open that up. Does that have just the 6.1, 2, and 3?
No. Wait, that was Mark. Hold on. That was
I say I'm
Marcus.
looking at it. I only see 3.
MSR. There we go. Okay, correct. This one pairs down the 6. So I had some weird, like, whatever one. I had a multitude.
Okay. So the 6.1 is that you want to play better and more consistency, what I'm hearing, yada yada yada. What comes up for you when I say that? It's the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. So, oh,
It does get confusing when you separate out the ACC and the PCC.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna go back and just ignore what I put on that one and go back to here. So the rabbit hole then is going to be 6.1?
no,
No. What did you just say?
no, because no, I was saying when it says, so what comes up for you when I say that, we had it under something different for PCC,
Okay.
but it goes under 6.1 for ACC.
Perfect. Got it.
And then how are you currently feeling and reacting when you're down this rabbit hole that might affect you consistently? Now, where do you think that goes on the MSRs?
So that one, 517. I had that under explores emotions, but that's not this one. So that would be
Oh, yeah. Must be under awarenesses then.
yeah.
So 7.1.
I wouldn't say 7.1.
Okay.
7.3?
7.3.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would use. Okay, and then
You're having a lot of thoughts going on at the same time. That's the
yeah,
same,
so
right?
no wonder that you're losing focus on playing it consistently. So how do you think focusing on all these thoughts and emotions may affect your ability to play consistently?
So that would be 7.2.
Yeah.
How they view it. So this was where I have one of those questions of where he says, I mean, so it's no wonder you're losing focus and playing it consistently. Is that just considered a summary and or a
It's a
form of
support. I think
what
it's a
I'm hearing?
support.
Okay, it's not crossing over to like,
I don't think so. I mean, it's probably not something you'd use at a PCC level, but you
okay,
know, for ACC, I think it's just
gotcha.
yeah, it's just supporting. It is their
Okay.
opinion, but it is supporting.
Yeah.
In a PCC level, you might question that as far as like how might you have expressed that without like giving your
Mm.
opinion or something like that. um yeah. So then we have, how would it feel to figure out a way to bring more of your true self forward?
8.2.
Yeah. And then what do you believe is the first thing we should address to move you more move you close to being more consistent, showing up, yada, yada, yada.
So yeah, so is that then starting the action plan for him?
Yeah. So it's 8.1.
Okay.
And then why do you think, so why do you think you put so much pressure on yourself?
It's also exploring emotions. So
7.1.
7.3.
7.1.
I mean, it's not 7.1 because there's no acknowledgement in that.
Oh, I see.
I think I think it's 6.
Oh.
What would you think it would be for 6?
6.2.
Mm-hmm.
But I never would have chose that.
Well, I mean, it says observation,
Yeah.
and so you
Okay.
can still put if you see an observation, you could still put that there.
Okay.
But it is that question is supporting the client in creating a new association. Like
Yeah.
if they figure out why they put so much pressure on themselves, that's
Mhm.
associated with the outcome that they're having, right? And
Yeah.
then hopefully they can correct it to get a new outcome. So it's definitely creating new associations.
Okay. So then that would be true for the next question then, right? So how do you think the pressure might take away from the fun?
Yep. That could also be, where is it? .2. Both of them could be 4.2 actually, but I like the second one better for 4.2. So expressions of feelings, perceptions, concerns, beliefs, or suggestions. So how do you think,
Okay.
is a perception or a belief. So could the other one be, but why do you think you put so much pressure on yourself? That could also be 4.2. And then suppose you leave here today with that plan. How do you think that would feel for you?
So is that 4.1 acknowledging? Well, he didn't learn that. Never mind.
Would that be like a 7.3? I don't know. Let me see.
It could be 7.3.
6.3. Vision.
It could potentially be 6.3 because there's a future-based question. You're asking them to vision it, envision it. So yeah, I would say 6.3, and then definitely the what did we just say?
6.3, 7.3.
7.3.
Okay.
And also, not every sentence that they say has to be put into this form, right? We're just doing this
Yeah.
so that you
Correct.
can see where these things can fit.
Yeah, this is helpful.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I applaud your willingness to take a look at yourself and try to figure out how to do something different. So what comes up for you when I say that all we can control is the preparation, effort, attitude, and our reactions?
Oh, he redacted. Check him out. Rest is the client's name.
7.1 for the beginning. Like he's acknowledging his like coachability, I guess. I don't know. Would that
Yeah.
apply?
Applaud your willingness to take a look at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be 7.1.
And the second part. How do you think? 7.3 for the second half?
I mean, it could be, but there's a stronger one.
Okay, let me look.
8.2. No, just kidding.
So what comes? What
I
is
don't think
So
it?
they're in
if you look at 6.2,
Mhm.
I mean, it's not like an observation where he said, so, I see that you're, controlling the preparation effort, yada, yada, but it is, supporting the client to look at a new association,
Yeah.
right? So I think 6.2 is the stronger one.
So he also says it again, like, so what comes up for you when I say, right? Because one, he kind of had it.
I'm not sure why he did it twice, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to change it.
Pulling a Lori. He says it a lot here.
Yeah.
So when you think
Maybe after
about
you
those
pick it up.
factors that are really in your control, how would that help you feel differently about your game?
Mm.
That's new. So 6.2, new associations.
Yeah, I mean, it could be 6.2. I think there's a stronger one.
7.1.
Yeah. 7.1.
It's funny how it's hard to do the markers because there's so many, but that it's actually harder to do the MSRs because there's not as many. So then it's more like, what does it get comprised? So the markers are actually easier in that sense.
Absolutely. And that's why I use them for everything.
So you're
But,
saying that the PCC ones?
Yeah, the PCC ones I think are totally easier.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's more to choose. Like, where do these things go?
Yeah.
Right. Like, what can we say that the coach is doing here?
Yeah.
The MSRs are very limiting. And the other thing is that they're updating the MSRs. So,
Yeah.
gonna have to give you an updated form soon anyway, but
Well, yeah,
um,
because this. Never mind. Sorry.
yeah. So,
Yeah, just leave stuff out.
well, you know, what we really wish is that they would just make it all consistent and then just have a nut like we're doing. Like if they pass the ACC, they need 16 of them, right? We use those PCC markers, but if they show 16 of them, then they pass at the ACC level. If they show 23 of them, then they pass at the PCC level. So that's how I do it for my mentoring as well. I use the PCC markers and I just say, do we have 16 here? If so, that's an ACC.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is moving forward, I should just use the markers.
I'm just saying, I think it's easier.
No, I get it now. I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
After we're going back and forth with all these different forms, I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah. And then, and what would being an in acceptance look like for you?
$7.3.
7.2.
I think
Oh,
7.2 is the
7.2.
stronger one.
Yeah,
Viewer.
that makes sense. I didn't see that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And then how does the thought of being in acceptance feel for you? Same thing. Okay, so after hearing that, that sounds like would be put you more in an emotional space. You mentioned seeking. How that was very convoluted. How might being in that acceptance help you with how you react? So how might being in that acceptance help you with how you react?
Outcome.
8.2? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm stuck,
I think 8.2 is good.
stuck on the language.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think it is translating awareness into action.
Okay.
And that other next one is just a statement.
Mhm.
Are there other aspects of golf, other aspects other than performance that makes golf meaningful for you?
So that's still importance, right? So we're going back up.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Mhm.
So where does that go on this?
It would be, hang on. The 3.4.
Okay.
Next one doesn't really go anywhere. So how might focusing on other aspects of golf impact how you're feeling around experiencing around regardless of what happens? Again, a little convoluted there.
Mhm. Awareness.
Still 7.1? Or no, 7.2.
2.
Yeah, that's I think it's 7.2.
Yeah.
Feeling experience around regardless of what's happening. It's more of a vision
Mhm.
Oh,
type.
I can't click in that box. What comes up when you say that?
Yeah, maybe this is where I got it from.
Maybe.
I know, that's what I said earlier. Yeah. Because we listened to this like first thing with the ACC pilot, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
We did.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we all were like, that's such a good question.
Yeah.
And
then
it is.
And I had just re-listened to this, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were listening to it before I called.
So well, how about that one? When you said that, I'm hearing that
Shift.
shift in focus could really help you with your reactions and possibly even your concentration. So what comes up for you when I say that?
Oh, where is that? .2.
Um,
No. Really?
so I think that this actually goes to 4.1
Whoa.
because he's really acknowledging that the client is saying a shift in focus could help them with their reaction and possibly even their
I
concentration.
see.
So he's really acknowledging what the client's
Okay.
insight and learning was in that moment.
So can I sidebar for a second?
Yeah.
So how we're sitting through and going through this transcript, when you like are listening to the coaching last night, are you just transcribing every question that the coach asks?
No. I mean, I take notes. I actually don't fill
Handwritten?
that form out while I'm in class.
Okay.
I use my Apple Notes
Yeah.
and I type out the questions that it's
Okay.
not every question, but it's most of the questions because half hour there's not a whole lot of questions anyway.
Right.
But I type
And
them
then,
out and then as I'm giving the feedback, I'm copying and pasting, when we're looking at which
yeah,
markers it hit.
you just know your markers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after I just pretty it up and put it into the
Mhm.
folder so that I know if we ever have to use that, it's done.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was telling Lori last night we were not talking during class. And but I telepathically
you
was
were.
saying to her, like, with WCI, it was like the observationing of a coaching call was like very 1, 2, 3, good, and I just was wondering, and then like how I took the notes was very different. So I was last night going, okay, wait, how can I take notes better for this? And
Yeah.
then I guess the other sidebar question is like, how do we want the observation to look for the academy? Like, do you know what I mean? Because like you were doing a few more, but maybe it's because we're a PCC class, like you were giving a little bit more positives and like 2 suggestions.
Yeah. So for the class, we're especially for PCC, we're really looking at
Right.
the main areas that need. So first we're going through and saying, this is what you're covering,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are the markers that you're hitting. And then here are the markers that need to be hit that you're not hitting. And how can we
Okay.
get it to do that, right? Get you to do that. And it's really in the discussion afterwards.
Yeah.
So, I want enough so that it's meaty, right? So the coach is getting a lot of meat out of it, but also so the class is getting an understanding. And so each one, like the first couple might be very light, but then you
Mm-hmm.
start getting more and more into it and being more and more specific. But it also, managing the time of the class is a big part of it too, because
Yeah.
if there's not a whole lot of time to give the full feedback, then you want to hit those points really quickly, like 3 good, 3 improve. Like you want to just do it
Yeah.
very succinctly. But once I went to a class, it made it a lot easier to get more into that. I wanted more of a discussion and more of specifics from me, from the instructor, but also a discussion for the group because they're learning as you're making them
Mm-hmm.
point out the marker.
Yeah.
So when you assign that's the whole point why we did that. When you
Yeah.
assign the marker to them, now they're starting to learn what the marker looks like. And so that's going to help them when they do their own coaching. And so that's why it's important to track who, you want everybody to have each marker at least once, which is possible because there's, that we're only doing, well, I shouldn't say that, each competency
Yeah.
once, and then, hopefully it's a good amount of the markers in that competency, but it doesn't have to be all the markers.
Yeah.
But that's part of the learning. And so it takes a little bit of pressure off of us having to keep repeating what those markers are in the class material. So that's why I didn't do that in the class material. I mean, I did some basic connections, but when they're looking at this, at that form, and they're,
Yeah,
figuring out what was said and what wasn't said, that's where that connection really comes in.
makes sense.
Okay, good. Okay.
And then remind me before you move on. And then in the ACC class, are we using the MSRs? Or are we using the feedback form?
No, we're using the
The
PCC markers.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is though, remember if you're doing it in the level 1 class, then you're not, you're keeping it much shorter and tighter for the basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really the feedback once you get to the PCC is more spread out over all the markers.
Yeah.
But so when you assign the things in the ACC class, you're looking at the main ones. And so you're actually giving a marker and not the competence. So you might say, I want you to look at the agreement and the outcome, 3.1, 3.2. And then, for the, for 8, we're looking at making sure that you have, the action steps, you're having the accountability and the obstacles. Right. So you're just pointing it out a little bit more specifically, like tightening up of what you want them to show, but you're still giving feedback on all of it. It's just not as, you're not focusing in on a lot more of the competencies that you are in the PCC, but because we're preparing them for PCC, I want them to come out of that level 1 and go into the level 2 add-on. And if they take the whole up, so how it works is the level 2 actually is both the level 1 and the level 2 add-on piece, right? So if they come in and say, I want to do the level 2, the full program, then they actually start with the level 1. So I want them to be prepped to go right into the add-on. So that's why I didn't do it differently. I wanted it PCC markers in both.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I just think that they're more in depth, so it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, even though we're showing them more with the markers, like showing them more things to concentrate on, they're new coaches. They're not going to focus in on all those things until you get them to the point where they have to in the PCC, in the add-on part. Okay. So how might be able to look at errors in a different way that may not have as much impact?
Where?
1920.
1920.
The
Impact.
sounding like a really powerful shift
Powerful.
in perspective. We haven't done that one yet.
Oh,
How does that
okay.
shift feel?
So how does that shift feel for you? I think that's just kind of the same.
4.1?
I feel like I say that when I say that type of question. But how does that shift feel for you? I mean, actually, that would probably be 4.2 or 4. No, I don't even like the 4.1 for that one.
Yes or no?
Hang on.
Okay. I'm like, wait, I don't know.
No, yeah, 4.1 because he's acknowledging that's sounding like a real powerful shift. Yeah, it's 4.1. I probably had it under both if I was doing, that form versus the PCC markers, which is where I'm taking my stuff from. Yeah, 4.1. And then
That's creating
great to hear you that you're excited. And so earlier you mentioned about some pretty strong and unwelcome thought outcomes of a shot. So you say you hit a shot and the outcome isn't what you, so say you hit a shot and the outcome isn't what you hope. How might you be able to look at errors in a different way that might not have as much impact? It's a long question.
7.3?
7.2.
7.2. Somewhere in that range. 7.25.
Yeah. How many people are looking? I mean, it definitely could be 7.2. I think it can definitely be 7.32 because it's a behavior
Hmm.
related to the outcome. So once he gets to that outcome, he's asking how do you change that behavior. So I think it's both. Now, when you're giving feedback, just choose one, by the way, because you'll overload the client.
Okay.
But we're doing it so you can see where these all fit because it's not cut and dried.
Yeah, got that.
And
Hmm.
then how do these new thoughts feel for you? I think it's the same thing in there. A lot of these also can go to 5.1, by the way, because they're open-ended. They're curious about, we're not going to list them all under 5.1, but 5.1 is a general type. They're asking open-ended questions. It's showing curiosity about the client. So a lot of these can fit into there. Oh shoot, where were we?
We just did 2104.
Okay. Okay. So, Quasi, you mentioned earlier that you said you're closer to your true self and you're out there playing. So when I say that, how does that resonate with you? It's the same type of question. We're not going to place that one.
Mm-hmm.
And as you bring up those qualities that are like your true self, how does that feel to be getting closer to that after thinking about a different way to approach your golf game? So this is towards outcome.
So 8.2.
So 7.3.
I think different way to approach your golf game. I think 8.2 because it's,
Okay.
different outcome.
Okay.
And then what action do you think might be willing to take? So this is action steps. That'd be 8.1. And then this sounds like a solid routine. What could help you stay connected to having fun and being in the moment?
8.2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this is all outcome related. And then actions, time frame is actions. So 8.1. How motivated and committed? What degree do you believe we progressed towards the goal you want to accomplish? So this is checking on progress, which was where is progress?
Seven. Are we up in the seventh again then? Oh, so that'd be like 8.3.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think it's 8.3. So it supports the client to close the session for ACC is usually obstacles, accountability, and progress, I would say. And then 26.43 is a reflection. So that's 6.1. for summarizing.
Lucy.
Oh,
Oh,
you said
sorry. I was
Lucy.
talking to Lucy.
And then support you may need to implement, that's accountability. So that's 8.3. And accountability is 8.3. And then I want to applaud you, your willingness, look at your courage, yada, yada, yada. That is what?
It's acknowledgement, so that goes up. 4.1? Or no?
I think it's 4.3.
4.3. What's 4.3? Expresses support.
Mm.
Okay.
It could also be 4.1. But since we need a 4.3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's where I would
Yeah.
put it. Stop yelling. And then invited, what they learned about themselves.
8.3.
Hey, stop it. I'm going to take it away. Hey, he watches these things and these kids are screaming in it.
And he screams.
No.
Oh. I actually like 7.3 for that better.
Which one?
I'd like to invite you to reflect on some insights that we discussed today.
Okay.
And then how would you like to end the call is 8.3. Okay. All right, now let's go back to the form up at the top where we're looking at 4.2. There could be a lot more in there, right? We just have the one in there right
Mhm.
now, but there's a lot of things that he asked about the feeling or viewing of something that definitely can go in 4.2. And then if we look at 5.2, acknowledges the situation that the client presents. Where do you think there's evidence of that?
Yeah, just looking.
Here, put it
Kind of
back.
like,
Sorry.
kind of like when he says, yeah, that makes sense. Like he had some statement that said that.
I mean, that probably could be it.
Acknowledge the situation. So yeah, you want to play better and more consistently, and so 4:30.
Yep, that's exactly what I was looking at. So he's acknowledging what the client
Right.
said. Plate? Where did you get the plate? How about 5.3? You think that you don't need evidence for this one?
I think,
Do you think or you could put evidence, but you don't absolutely need it.
oh no, I didn't put I was looking back at the other one to see if I did.
Do you think
I just put yes.
yeah. So yeah, client
I mean,
allows
that's silence, right?
well, client allows
Space.
coach allows the client to direct the conversation at least some of the time.
Right. But that's
You
where
know,
like the 80-20 and all that goes in.
80-20, and did the coach lead?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Got it.
I don't think the coach led.
Mm-mm.
Not at an ACC level, anyway. Now, if we're looking at this at a PCC level, you need to stop yelling. Then, we might say something like, once they covered that first section, then saying something like, and so where do you want to go from here? Or what should we process next, or what have you? But at an ACC level, he's not, I'm not playing with you. I'm really not. What else? So I think that's it. So we covered everything. There wasn't anything that was missing. So this is a pass. What questions do you have, if any?
Oh. So this was a PCC call.
ACC. We're doing ACC today. ACC.
ACC form, right?
We're doing the
Right.
MSRs. That's ACC.
Right. But overall, this was assessed for his PCC cert.
No, it was assessed for ACC. This was an ACC assessment.
Rosario? Okay. Well, it says 11. Oh, assessed with, yeah. Updated PCC markers for a level 2
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on.
on the YouTube clip.
Oh,
Yeah, it
I
said
think I was thinking about the Coyote one or whatever her name was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but we did the ACC form. So
Right. For him. Yeah.
yeah. So I had the PCC form. So yeah, he
Great.
did definitely reach a PCC as well. But for this purpose, yeah, he passed at the ACC. And actually, it'd probably be a good idea to actually now do the PCC form.
So turn in both.
Yeah, so we'll do both. Maybe that'll actually will be helpful, so you can see how we can
Right.
translate them over. No. Okay, so for 3.1, well, we can transfer over all 4 of those, 3.1 through 3.4 right over to the PCC markers one. And then .1 can go right over.
I also
No.
had okay. Never mind.
So what would you have for 4.2 on the PCC markers?
Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to close that. Dang it.
I guess we should just go through it again like we did. It might be confusing trying to take it over from the other one. Or I
I
don't
need to
know.
pull this, but yeah, I closed the one that was.
Well, that like the 4.2 is more like the acknowledgement, right? So I'm just looking for that.
Yeah, show support, empathy, or concern for the client.
So like 1225, I applaud your willingness.
That's support. Yep.
Are we doing it? So would you do the whole thing like into the question as well? So what comes up for you when I say all that
no,
we
I
can
just
control? You
no, I
applaud
just
your
put
willingness.
I pull your willingness to take a look at yourself and try to figure out how to do something differently.
Okay.
About 4.3 acknowledges expressions.
I put 1726 that you have like a genuine passion for it. But I don't know if that's true. Hold on.
And we're looking at what the client says, like supporting
Yeah.
their expressions or feelings or something. So the easy one is the client talks about taking the pressure or that the pressure might take away the fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's that.
So is it 1528? He says, so after hearing that, that sounds like put you in a more emotional space. You mentioned seeking. How might that be acceptance? How might being in that acceptance help you with how you react?
Hmm.
He asks him the question of like, what would it be like to play with less pressure or something?
Yeah, he says, how do you think this pressure might take away from the fun? Where is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did I make that up?
No.
no, hold on.
Hold on, let me look
I'm
on
finding it.
on that other form. 1021.
Oh, I was way down.
I know
Me
that.
too. Me too.
Okay, there it is. Yeah. So how do you think this pressure might take away from the fun? So the client says, I want to have fun, keep up with my friends, who are serious players. I feel pressure to play well to keep up with them. So that's acknowledging what the client is saying and then asking a question about it. Yeah, let's go in order. I think that's going to be easier. So we don't need that. What do you accomplish when you set out to go on? We did that. Inconsistently important. We did that. Yeah. And then how are you currently feeling and reacting when you're down this rabbit hole that might be affecting your consistency?
Where are you, Cheryl? I'm sorry.
6517.
Okay.
Oh,
I have that as 5.1.
Yeah. Coaching the person.
does it go down to 7 as far as awarenesses?
Um,
Or not
no, I
yet?
think this is not yet. It's too early in the conversation. I have it under 5.4 as well.
I do too. Yeah.
Being curious about the client.
Explores emotion.
Well,
6.3.
I like 6.27 for explores emotion.
6.27. Okay. Got it.
So how do you think focusing on all those things, all these other thoughts and emotions may affect your ability to play consistently? So I think that's looking at the emotional piece as well. And then, so that's
6.3, is that what you're saying?
6.3. Yeah.
Okay.
And then how would it feel to figure out a way to bring more of your true self forward? Where do you think that would go?
One, it's acknowledging expressions, right? Because he said, I want to be like my full true self.
Yep.
And then that's around, it's almost like coaching the person, but I'm not convinced on it.
I like 4.3. We don't have to put it more than one place.
Okay.
I would like to figure out a way to bring out more of your true self forward. So it's acknowledging what the client said and then following up with a question. And then what do you believe the first thing we should address to move you closer to bring more consistent and showing up as your true self when you're out on the golf course? So 8.33, where does that go?
Did that one go back up to 3.3?
3.4.
Oh yeah, 3.4.
Yeah. It also is 5.3. Inviting client choice.
Yeah.
And then why do you think you put so much pressure on yourself?
5.1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. I also have it on 6.3.
I think
That's
6.5 is closer to it.
okay. Yeah.
That's their belief around themselves.
Yeah.
Same thing with
What was the first?
Oh,
We said
that
5.1 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so how do you think this pressure might take away from the fun? It's the same as or is it expressions? Yeah, 4.3.
Yeah.
And then 11.46.
That's like creating the future. So importance and meaning.
How do you think that would feel for you? I think that's more the 6.3.
6.3. Oh, right.
What?
I see how you say
Acknowledging.
And then 12.25. How does that go? So what do you think that would be, 12.25?
Support.
Mhm.
Or
Um,
so was that in 4? Empathy, so 4.2. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 4.2.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
it could be
wait, where?
4.2, but,
Okay.
um, so what comes up for you when I say that all we can control is the preparation, effort, attitude, and our reactions? So the coach is offering up something.
So he's like coaching the agenda, right? So not the person,
Um,
right? I don't know.
so I think it's 4.4.
Ah, I didn't.
Invites to respond and accepts. So giving the client something and asking them to respond. So there, it's a contribution that the coach made,
Okay.
saying that we can control, that all we control is preparation, effort, attitude, and our reactions. And they're asking for that response from the client. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same thing with the next one.
Mm-hmm.
All we can control is our preparation. I mean, it's the same type of question, same question really, but that's also invites to respond and accepts. And then the next one, okay, so when you think about those factors that are really in your control, how would that help you feel differently about your game?
So explores the emotions then.
It could be, but it's not really an emotional question, even
Okay.
though it says feel differently.
So expand the topic.
I think it expands the topic.
7.3.
Yeah. It could also be 7.2, expands the who.
Okay.
In fact, I think I like 7.2 better, but it could be both.
Yeah.
But I like 7.2, so I'm leaving on that.
Okay.
And then what would being an acceptance look like for you?
Could be
What was it?
7.2.
Is it 7.4 as far as outcome, or is it 7.1 because it's current?
I mean, it definitely is 7.4,
Okay.
but also I think it could be 7.1. Um, and then there's the feeling part of it. So
Mhm.
look like and then feel like. So that could be more on where is it?
So that's 6.3.
6.3.
I have it under. I mean, yeah, it could be 6.3 because that's exploring emotions. 6.5 is the other one. Because it can be in a belief as well.
Mhm.
I think the next one is just a reiteration of the other two. Um,
And then this is just an acknowledgement.
yeah. To make sense,
Which
you want to see
is-
tangible results in terms of outcomes. Good shot for those scores.
Mhm.
So that could be
So
acknowledges.
4. So 4.1 then.
Uh, ex no, I don't think 4.1.
There's deeper.
I think it's 4.3.
Okay.
And then genuine passion for the game that goes much, much deeper than how well you're playing. I actually would not put that anywhere. So how might focusing on other aspects of the golf or other aspects of golf impact how you're feeling around regardless of what's happening?
So that's expand.
Sorry?
Go ahead, Hub.
No, go on. You said it. 7 point.
I was saying
expanding the
7.3.
Yeah. So expands topic or what?
Mhm.
It could also be. What else could it be?
6.5.
Yep. So when you said that, I'm hearing that shift in focus could really help you with your reaction and possibly even your concentration. What comes up for you when I say that?
Exploring the shift.
Sorry?
Or is that exploring the energy shifts? Is that
Emotion?
6.4 then?
I mean, it could be energy shift.
6.3 as well, emotions.
I think we would leave it at 6.4.
Okay.
We have a few on 6.3. So that's sounding like a real powerful shift in perspective. How does that shift feel for you? I think again that's 6.4. And then 1941 is, a little bit convoluted, but that's great to hear that you're excited. And so earlier you mentioned about some pretty strong reaction to some unwelcome outcomes of that shot. So say you hit a shot and the outcome isn't what you hoped, how might you be able to look at errors in a different way that may not have as much impact? I'm just taking the last part. How might you be able to look at errors in a different way that might not have as much impact?
So that's back to beliefs then. Exploring.
I
Or
think
that's
it's
too much before it's before that. Expanding.
expanding the who.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Could also be expanding outcome. Either of those. Because that would be an outcome, right? That impact would be an outcome.
Mhm.
And then Then we have the emotion. How do these new thoughts feel for you? So that's 6.3. So those sound like some of the qualities you had mentioned earlier that you had said were closer to your true self than what you're out there playing. So when I say that, how's that resonating with you? I think we can put that to the invites to respond. 4.4.
Back up there.
And then as you bring up those qualities that are like your true self, how does that feel to be getting closer to, we're not going to place that because it's more of the 6.3. What actions do you think you might be willing to take to integrate new mindset when you're playing golf and be able to carry that mindset through despite what might be happening out there on the course?
The agenda. Is that coaching the agenda?
No, I
And
think it's 8.5. Post-session
Okay.
And
activities.
okay, not 8.4. No.
Could be 8.4 as well. I think it's 8.5 first because it's the action, post-session action activities, but
Yeah.
also it is applying that new mindset. So it could be both. So this sounds like a solid routine that could help you stay connected to having fun and being in the moment. Yeah, nice work. What do you think that is?
back up the top.
The yeah, nice work is acknowledgement.
I think it's a celebration really because it's towards
Okay.
the end, so we can go to 8.8
Oh, okay.
with
Okay.
it.
Fill that sucker in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I believe this plan definitely can help you carry through your challenges as they arise. Something to be cautioned about. We don't want, that's our opinion. But so it's kind of being supportive, but it's also an opinion in there. So I would ask the client how they might be able to rephrase that. But what do you think the ideal time frame could be to start with this? That's also 8.8 for post-session activities. And then progress, what degree? So that is
8.5 or no?
no 8.1 explores progress. And then 2643 is a reflection. And then
Ability. 8.7.
that's 2721 is 8.7.
And that's just a follow-up, right?
And then also, how would you like to be held accountable? That's also 8.7. Just different ways of asking it. I want to applaud your willingness to look at yourself and courage to make some changes.
Celebrate.
Mhm.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
And then learning about yourself. So 8.3. For 2037. And then 3003. is 8.9. I know he asked about obstacles. It's dead because you didn't let me charge it. Shapes? You have to wait a minute.
Oh my God, my mom is literally blowing up my phone thinking she's about to respond to a scam.
No.
But oy vey, it's every day.
My dad had one yesterday or 2 days ago. It was really bad. I felt bad for him.
I keep telling her, don't do anything. And she doesn't listen.
Where's resources or barriers? I know that it's here. I don't know why I don't have it on there, but you guys see it?
8.6.
Yeah, 8.6.
I didn't see anything for that, but I might be
Integrating.
sorry. I gotta go charge my
Dead.
computer.
I have to plug it in. Did you hit your head? Come here. Come here. Aw. Aw, come here. Come here. Aw. You hit your head. Go get my iPad. Go get Gigi's. You can have that one.
Ideal time. I don't know if I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either.
What degree do you believe we progress?
There's a part where, let's see.
How do you feel about integrating the strategies? Supports you may need to implement? Is that what you're thinking? 27, 21?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I would make that a somewhat. So that would be somewhat.
Okay.
And then custom language, I didn't see that, so I had no, or let me start from the beginning. Do we have all three? We have all four. Oh, and then 5.2, we don't have to put evidence there, but definitely coach the agenda.
Okay.
Invited client's choice, stories about the client. You want a cookie? Silence and pause, definitely had like nice silence and pause in there. Not all that, just a couple. There you go. Eat one at a time. Thank you. Custom language, I didn't really see too much custom language. Explore words, I say somewhat because he did pick up a couple of the client's words when he asked his question. But I think the questions could have been more in depth when using those words. So that's what you want to look at too, is like what type of question are they asking when they're exploring the client's words? So I had somewhat for that. And then we have the rest. Okay, no interruptions. I have yes. 6, 7 is yes. 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4 are all done. And then 7.5, there's plenty of examples for 7.5 as well. Every time that he said, how might that look? Or something like that. Most of the recap that he did ahead was the sharing and exploring. I don't think there was any closed-ended questions in there, or there might have been one. Use concise language, client talk more. 8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 6 is somewhat.
Oh wait, which ones did you say somewhat? 2?
8.6 is somewhat.
Oh.
8.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Yeah, the new learning. Those are all yes. Explore progress, apply new learning, post-session activities. Those are all yeses. Accountability is a yes. 8 is a yes, and 9 is a yes. So this is a pretty strong call
Mhm.
for PCC. Questions about it?
No, I really liked it though. I feel like it
Yeah.
helped me kind of like hone in more on it. And I like the fact that things could kind of go in multiple places, even though it kind of
Mhm.
drives me crazy, but it kind of like relieves some of the pressure. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically what I do is I go and I'll go through the whole transcript and put one example for each, and then I'll go back and maybe if I need something that I didn't feel like it wasn't a really strong one, then I might find something else that goes in it.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But again, you don't want to overwhelm the client. So you might say, oh, there's other examples as
Mhm.
well, but here's the stronger example.
Okay. So I'm gonna put so pretty much only give like 1 or 2.
Was-
Yeah, I would say 1 strong one, 2 if you need to have more on there, for if it's not a really strong one, or if you just have a feeling of it and you need to have more than one to demonstrate it, then you could put more than one. But if you only have one, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
that's what we're doing is we're trying to show
Mhm.
how that they did it, and so we only need one example for that.
Okay, great.
Okay, so for next week, I'll give you the chapter 7 in the oh my God, Telegram, and then you're gonna do the same thing for the Kyoto Coaching Metavito, and that's going to be ACC. And we're going to do another
But
one.
still do the markers form.
No, just do the ACC form. Or no, actually, sorry. If you're both going to use the markers form, then we won't use the ACC.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So just use the PCC markers form for that one. Most likely you're not going to have as much, right?
Yeah. It does break it down more.
Right. So do the ACC I mean, think of it as an ACC as you're doing the Kyoto one, and then you're going to do 2, because we need to catch up on the
Mhm.
your own hours versus the class hours. And then do the did I give you Kim's?
I think it's in the I think you have it as part of like the course stuff.
Okay, I'll link it though in I have to find it, and then I'll link it in Telegram, and that'll
Mhm.
be your PCC one.
So do you want us to do the PCC form for both?
Yeah, the PCC form for both, but your mindset when you're looking at it, because that's going to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at an ACC mentor or a PCC mentor, so just look at the Kyoto as an ACC, and look at Kim as a PCC.
Okay, good.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then just fill out both of those forms, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll just go through them next week and see how they came out for you.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, before you leave, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You have 2 seconds?
Yep.
So we were talking about for CEUs. So
Oh,
like
yes.
I have my ACC. I don't need to renew for another year. How does that work for CEUs for like us applying to PCC? Do they restart over? So should I hold my documentation until I just go PCC?
I wouldn't do anything with this. You're just going to do your PCC level 2
Yeah.
application. Yeah. And then you can use, I mean, we'll have to finagle the dates, but that's fine. Then you can use this as your renewal for your PCC if you don't do anything else.
Okay.
But you don't need
Can
it
we
for your,
use some of our WCI classes? Like I haven't used, or no, I used one for
but
renewal.
you don't need to do any of that if you do PCC level 2.
Okay, that's what was
You-
confusing me last night.
No,
It's more
you
because
use that
they were
level.
confusing me.
Yeah, you're just going to use your level 2 certificate. You don't need any other credits.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't need to show WCI
Nothing.
anything. You don't need to show.
Okay,
But when you
that
go
was
to renew those PCCs, you'll have
Then you
teaching
need-
from here that you could use,
right. That
as
you
well as this CMC if we change the dates.
gotcha.
But you won't need it. You'll have plenty. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
All right. I'll drop some stuff in Telegram and talk to you guys later.
Thank
See you
you.
tomorrow.
Thanks. Bye.
I'll be in
Bye.
Texas.
Oh,
Bye.
yep.
All
Bye.
right.
Yep.
Careful traveling. Okay, bye.
I will. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.